Can a phone bezel really be so thin that it almost disappears? According to a new leak, Samsung's upcoming Galaxy Z Fold 7 might just pull that off. If true, it could make last year's Galaxy Z Fold 6 look like it's from a different era. Let's talk about what's been revealed. A well-known leaker, Ice Universe, claims that the bezels on the Fold 7's inner display are just 1 millimeter thin. That's almost half the size of the Fold 6's bezels, which measured about 1.9 millimeters. It might sound like a small change on paper, but in real life, the difference will be easy to notice, especially when you're watching videos, reading, or just browsing. Samsung isn't stopping there either. The Galaxy Z Flip 7, its smaller foldable sibling, is also expected to join the slim bezel club. The outer screen bezels could shrink to 1.2 millimeters. That's cleaner, sleeker, and definitely more premium looking. Now you might wonder, why does bezel size even matter? Well, thinner bezels don't just make the screen look bigger, they actually make the entire device feel more modern. You get a better viewing experience without making the phone physically larger. Plus, thinner. Bezels are becoming a status symbol of high-end design in smartphones. But that's not the only big news. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 is also rumored to be incredibly thin when unfolded. It could be just 3.9 millimeters thick. That's impressively slim, especially for a foldable device with a large internal screen. It even puts pressure on rivals like Oppo's Find N5 and the upcoming Honor Magic V5, both known for their sleek builds. To give some perspective, the Fold 7 is said to measure 158.4 by 143.1 millimeters when open. These updated dimensions suggest that Samsung has not only made the phone thinner, but also given it a slightly taller and wider footprint, allowing for an even larger display than before. Rumors point to an 8.2-inch inner screen, which would be the biggest yet on a Samsung foldable. And while Samsung is busy refining its foldables, Apple is also in the background, reportedly preparing its first foldable iPhone. But that won't be coming until next year, giving Samsung time to dominate the foldable scene again in 2025. With all these design changes, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 might be the biggest refresh we've seen in the Fold series in years. It doesn't just upgrade the specs, it completely changes the feel of the phone. The Galaxy Z Flip 7, on the other hand, seems to be growing up. Its cover screen is expected to get bigger, now rumored to be around 4 inches compared to 3.4 inches on the Flip 6. Inside, the screen might also increase in size to 6.85 inches. Add the slimmer bezels to that, and you're looking at a more immersive Flip experience than ever before. Samsung is clearly going all in on design this year. With people wanting sleeker, more modern-looking phones, it makes sense. Why would anyone choose a thinner phone over a more powerful one? That's exactly the question Samsung seems to be answering with the Galaxy S25 Edge, and surprisingly, it might be one of the most interesting phones of the year. Most of the attention usually goes to the top-tier flagship models like the Galaxy S25 Ultra, packed with all the best specs. But this year, the Edge version might just steal the spotlight, not because it's the most powerful, but because it's the thinnest. Leaked images show just how slim this phone is. At only 5.85 millimeters thick, it's the thinnest smartphone in the Galaxy S series ever. When you see it placed next to the Galaxy S25 Ultra, the difference is hard to ignore. It's sleek, light, and easy to hold, something many users have been wanting for a long time. It's clear that phone makers are starting to understand that not everyone wants a massive, heavy device in their pocket. In fact, Apple is also rumored to be releasing the iPhone 17 Air, which will be even thinner, just 5.5 millimeters. But Samsung is striking first with the S25 Edge, launching it on May 13th. Now yes, comparing the S25 Edge with the S25 Ultra might not be entirely fair. The Ultra has more features like a dedicated zoom camera, which the Edge doesn't include, and that's on purpose. Samsung had to skip certain components to make the phone this slim. But guess what? Most people won't mind. Take the Galaxy Z Flip, for example. It's never had a zoom camera either, but it's still Samsung's best-selling foldable phone. Why? Because people love the form factor. They're okay with making small trade-offs if the phone looks and feels better to use. That's why the Galaxy S25 Edge could be the surprise hit of 2025. Samsung seems to know this, which is why the phone isn't being treated like some limited, Edition product. Unlike the Galaxy Z Fold Special Edition, this one is getting a proper global rollout. The launch will start in South Korea, followed by the United States and Europe, some of Samsung's most important markets. If the response is strong, the phone could expand into even more regions. One concern some people might have is the price. In many places, it's expected to cost about the same as the Galaxy S25 Plus, or maybe even a bit more. That might sound steep for a phone that isn't packed with every feature possible, but Samsung is clearly betting that the ultra-thin design will be enough to draw people in, and they might be right. In markets where people buy phones mostly through carrier plans, the pricing may not feel like a huge deal. If Samsung sees strong demand there, that could help shape its future release strategy and even encourage them to expand the Edge line further. In fact, it's very likely that we'll see a Galaxy S26 Edge next year, especially if the current version does well. What if the next foldable phone could finally change the way we think about battery life and charging speeds? Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 7 is just around the corner, expected to launch in the summer of 2025, and the tech world is already buzzing about what improvements this new foldable will bring to the table. While foldable phones are known for their multitasking abilities, let's face it, battery life and charging speeds have never been the Z Fold's strongest suits. So, what can we expect from the Z Fold 7 when it comes to these crucial features? Let's first talk about battery life. The Z Fold 6 made some improvements over its predecessor, delivering a solid battery life of 5 hours and 33 minutes in tests. That's better than the Z Fold 5, but still not the best on the market. It did well in web browsing, video streaming, and 3D gaming, but it wasn't a standout in any of those areas. With the Z Fold 7, we're expecting a slight improvement thanks to the new Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. This new chip should help with battery efficiency, meaning you could get a little more screen time, maybe an extra hour in mixed usage. However, don't expect any massive jumps in battery life unless Samsung decides to surprise us with a larger battery or some game-changing technology. Speaking of the battery, Samsung has stuck with the same 4400 mAh battery for a while now. While this is enough for most users, some rivals like Oppo and Huawei have been using larger batteries in their foldables. So, will Samsung make the leap to a bigger battery? The rumor mill isn't so sure, but it's something many foldable fans would love to see. When it comes to charging, the Z Fold 7 won't be breaking any speed records. Expect the same charging speeds as the Z Fold 6, 25-watt wired charging, 15-watt wireless charging, and 4.5-watt reverse wireless charging. That means wired charging will get you about 50% in 30 minutes and a full charge in 75 to 85 minutes. Good. Enough for most people, but definitely not fast by today's standards. Other foldables out there, like those from Vivo, Huawei, and Oppo, are already pushing up to 100-watt charging speeds. Wireless charging won't be any faster either. In our tests of the Z Fold 6, we saw that it took a solid 3 hours and 19 minutes to fully charge at 15W, placing it behind the competition. But hey, if you're not in a rush, overnight charging or a quick top-up during the day should still get the job done. Just don't expect it to be the quickest. Now, if you've ever found yourself with a dead Galaxy Buds or a Galaxy Watch and no charger nearby, don't worry. Reverse wireless charging is here to help. The Z Fold 7 will likely continue to support wireless power share, allowing you to charge those smaller accessories at a modest 4.5W. It's not going to charge your phone, but it's a nice feature to have when you need it.